Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cascadia Inswinger. I'm Eddie Smith with my co-host John Floresca, and we got a big one for you. We're not going to do the short clips that we were doing before with individual teams. We're going to do it all in one hit since we got Seattle playing in both a game against Portland and now a game against Vancouver coming up. So that's what you get all in one hit. So let's start off with Vancouver versus San Jose. And this was an interesting one as Vancouver needs points and they got them all three. John, what do you think of this one?
Yeah, well, Vancouver goes down early in this one, and you're thinking it's going to be another long day for Vancouver. You don't think that they're going to be able to fight back, but this team has proven to be resilient. They gave up the goal in the 24th minute. They go into halftime down 1-0. But Ali Adnan says, I'm equalizing this with a free kick from 35 yards out. Absolute blast into the side netting. It was a gorgeous goal to tie this game up at 1-1, and that brought this Vancouver Whitecaps team to life because it took them only 6 minutes to find the game winner as a pass shot came in from the wing, but it was deflected by the keeper, but right to Tosaint Ricketts' feet in the 57th minute, and they were able to get this win 2-1. Don't look at the statistics other than the shots because they're ugly. But Vancouver coming back to win this one is absolutely massive for their playoff chances, Eddie. Does this put them in the playoffs?
It does put them in the playoffs. They are currently um, in the seventh spot. With that win, they ended up tied with San Jose, but because of goal differential, they had now leapfrogged San Jose. So Vancouver currently in the seventh spot with 24 points, um, and looking pretty good right now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, when they're getting come from behind victories like this, you look at their schedule. They do have a tough one coming up against Seattle, but they have winnable games. They have a chance to get to the playoffs, which is exactly what this team needed to do. It's a surprise considering they're doing it all away from home, but this team is finding a way to win. They've got the lineup right. I do like the Cavallini Montero partnership up front. It's creating chances for this team. And defensively, they're doing just enough to get these wins.
Yeah, when you're talking about the schedule with the hard schedule coming up, and yes, it is going to be a decently difficult schedule as they got two Cascadia matches with Seattle coming up, and then Portland over the weekend. But then to finish the season off, they only have three matches left. To finish the season off, they are going to be playing the LA Galaxy at home, and at the moment, when you look at the standings, who better to end the season than the Galaxy right now?
Yeah, the Galaxy are in shambles. They put themselves in prime position getting 3 points here. They really only need to get a few points out of these two games with Seattle Portland. Not easy tasks, as we know. Seattle and Portland sitting near the top of the Western Conference, but very doable, especially considering they're playing in Providence Park for both of these games, so they won't have to travel.
All three.
All
I
three
think
of their games, so they don't
all
leave.
three.
They don't leave Portland for the rest of the season, huh?
No, because I think yeah, their last game is a home game versus the Galaxy. So yeah, they don't leave at all for the rest of the season.
Very nice. I say don't look at the statistics. They're not nearly as bad as I made them sound initially. They did give up 62% possession, but they've done that all year. I don't think there's a single game we can go back and say Vancouver won the possession battle, but they actually were equal on shots and actually had more shots on target. So I shouldn't say it was a statistical anomaly. They had very little of the ball, but when they had it, they were taking advantage of it.
So shall we move on to Seattle versus Portland?
Yeah, let's move to the other Cascadia teams. This game was very interesting because it looked like a replay of all the other two games, not all of their games, their most recent two games. Portland scores early in this one. They go up 1-0 and they do that bunker. And I saw a great MLS article saying that in the last three games, including this is one of the three, that Vancouver has scored in the first 15 minutes of all three, and Seattle goes to a fly down the flanks and cross game where they have over 30, 35 crosses every game. It looked like it was going to be the same. And Portland's going, hey, we love this. We've done this twice and won both times. We can do it a third time. Unfortunately, they weren't able to hold them off, and Seattle was able to get the 1-1 draw. But kind of interesting, see how this sets these teams up for the playoffs. What do you think about it, Eddie?
Well, first I have to say this is actually the prediction I was thinking this game was going to go. They've been locked up all season long, and I was just like, you know what? It's going to be a draw. They're not, they're not going to separate at all. And for most of the match, I really thought that Portland was going to get the victory because Seattle doing their crossing game into the box. I mean, sometimes it has worked for them, but I feel like over the years, um, it's never really truly done them justice. Um, and if you look at the stats, I mean, the Sounders had 15 shots to Portland's 8, but then you look at the shots on target, Seattle only had 1, and that was their goal. And seeing that, I made me really think that Portland was going to get the win. It just didn't look like Seattle was really on point at all the entire match. And it brings me to this question I have for you, John, is do you feel um, the draw was well deserved for Seattle, or do you feel like Seattle got lucky in this one to
Oh,
come
they
away with
got
this?
lucky. Portland's totally hard done by this. So Portland plays their style. They score early, they defend well. And I've preached that quite a few times if you watch the other shows. And they did it again. So I'm pulling up the stats now. In the last 3 games against Seattle, they scored in the 9th minute, the 13th minute, and now the 10th minute. So Portland's got this Seattle team figured out. They know we're going to go in, we're going to score within the first 15 minutes. And then they're going to play with the lead, and they know that Seattle can't break them down. Seattle hasn't had a striker who is a good winner of a cross since Eddie Johnson several years ago. Even when they had Clint Dempsey, Obafemi Martins, Rui Diaz isn't particularly great in the air. So Portland loves this. Portland's eating it up, and Gio Savaresi's like, sure, Seattle crossed the ball in, let's see, 2 games ago, September 6th, Seattle crossed the ball in 33 times. Their game on September 23rd, Seattle crossed the ball in 40 times. Last week, Thursday, Seattle crossed the ball in 45 times. So it's exactly what Portland wanted. Maybe Seattle got one too many crosses in, and that's why they got that goal, because 45 is a lot of crosses. And I wouldn't even say they necessarily won the ball in the air. The ball kind of got deflected to him. So Portland's definitely hard done by this. I don't expect Portland to change the tactics if these teams face in the playoffs. They're going to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, why change something that was working for you? The only problem was that one ball was able to squeak through. But if you're defending the way you are against Seattle, yeah, you don't need to really change anything. It's just unfortunate for Portland that they weren't able to get more goals, which I kind of feel like they deserve to get at least one more goal in this match. But I want to focus on Portland's goal scorer, Andres Flores. It was a great goal for him, seeing that he's been battling injuries. Um, Personal loss with the passing of his father as well. And just you could see it in his face that after that goal, it was just so much emotion for him to score that goal. I'm very happy for him that he was actually able to get that goal off his back.
Yeah, if they needed somebody to score a goal there, it had to have been him. He's been a troubled player for the Timbers recently. He just hasn't been able to really work his way into this team. But this goal kind of brings that spark and that life back to him. And we've seen it happen with these Timbers players that when they do find these goals and they're able to get in rhythm, that the Timbers take advantage of it. So it's very good that he scored going into the stretch run of the season, going into the playoffs with all the trouble he's had, and it only alleviates that pressure on Mora and Valeri and um, Ibobasi. So you know that when you have multiple players on the field who put balls in the back of the net, that your team's going to do better. And I don't know. This Portland team is setting up really well for a deep postseason run.
Yeah, I really think that both sides are setting up for a deep postseason run. Um, we got some good news from the Sounders side, which we'll talk more when we get into Seattle versus Vancouver. But Raul Rui Diaz is back in Seattle, and sounds like he is likely to get back to the pitch very soon.
And they could have used him in this game for sure.
Exactly. It could have been a whole different game if Rui Diaz was on the pitch.
Yep. So don't look at the stats too much because Portland did what Portland does. 15 shots for Seattle, 8 for Portland, but Seattle had only 1 shot on target and Portland had 4. So there's your summary. Portland was more efficient with the ball. Seattle's lucky to be walking away with a point on that one. Very, very lucky. Portland goes from a very tough game against. Was there any more you wanted on that one, or can I move on to LA?
I'm ready to move on to
All
the
right.
Galaxy.
Portland moves from a very tough game against the Sounders to probably the easiest team on the docket right now, and that is the LA Galaxy. The LA Galaxy are absolutely abysmal. They've lost 7 out of 8. They can't get anything going right for them. The most positive news out of LA in the recent weeks is that Chicharito's wife gave birth to a child. And so they're happy for him in that regards, but that's off the field stuff. When it comes to on the field, this team cannot win anything. Portland should easily take away 3 points from this game being at home against this Galaxy squad. Eddie, who do you like to score in this one? Because let's talk about goal scoring.
um, man, for who I think is going to score in this one, can I say everyone? Because everyone's really a bit able to score against the Galaxy, it seems like. Um,
Well, the last time they faced it in Portland put 6 past them. Yeah, last time they played, Portland put 6 past them.
so everyone.
So the better question is will somebody get a hat trick in this one?
Um, you know, it always seems like the second time around when teams face each other, the losing team,
Tightens up.
even if they lose again, they do tighten up, and it shouldn't be that 6-0 slaughter that Portland had against them. But I do think that Portland's still going to get a few goals, and I could see it being a 3-1 victory for Portland in this one.
Yeah, I don't think LA is going to find the back of the net. I got this one going 2-0 for Portland. LA's got nothing to play for. They're playing against a Timber squad who's number 3 in the West right now. I just don't see why Portland won't just easily get the lead in this one. Easily get the lead, ride it out, and then hit on a counter to make it 2-0 and just kind of take it easy, you know? I wouldn't be surprised if Portland takes their foot off the gas pedal a little bit and says, you know, this game isn't worth all the energy that we need to expend. Maybe you see some players rested. Maybe you see Valeri come out in the 70th minute and let him rest some legs for that game on the weekend against Vancouver. But it's interesting that we can say that we can say the Galaxy is a team that you rest players against because that's never been the case in the past.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that this match is just meaningless for the Galaxy. They do actually have a chance at a playoff spot. Weirdly enough, they do. They are sitting at 18 points. Vancouver and San Jose are sitting at 24 in those last 2 spots. So 2 victories, and you're tied for the last playoff spot. Yes, they do have an outside shot, but they still do have a shot. I've always felt you're not out of it until you're mathematically out of it. I don't care how far back. I mean, I'm a Mariners fan, obviously, is with my hat, and I I hold out hope every year that the Mariners will make the playoffs, and it's been 19 years. So I there is a chance LA can still get into this playoff picture. And
You say there's a chance. Yes, you are right. Mathematically, there's a chance. But look at this team. Look at this LA
yeah,
team. They've played with no heart for weeks. They've lost 7 out of. There's no heart. Their coach should be fired. I'm surprised they haven't fired their coach yet. You lose 7 out of 8 with the players that you have, and you shouldn't even be a coach. You should no longer be coaching this team.
we felt the same way about Vancouver at the start of the season, coming back from the MIB tournament, and then they magically turned a corner, and now they're in a playoff spot.
The
So
difference, you're looking at two different clubs here. No offense to Vancouver, but LA has a pedigree and they have a standard to uphold, and they have more money invested in their players, quite frankly, than Vancouver does. If you have that much money invested in your players and you're not getting the job done, you have to look at the coach, especially when you've got players like Dos Santos and Chicharito.
I completely agree with you. I honestly don't feel like they will make the playoffs, but just had to put in that they do have something still to play for. Especially another thing that they I feel need to play for is to be above Colorado. I'm looking at the standings right now. Colorado has played 14 games. They just played a game this last weekend, so they are back on the pitch. But 14 games to LA's 18, and LA's still behind them.
Yeah. This is a Cascadia show. We could keep bashing on LA all night. I could bash on them all night because it's fun to do. It's not something we can do very many years. So I'm gonna go with my 2-0 prediction just to end this on some positive Portland talk. I've got Valeri scoring one of them, and I've got the Chara brothers linking up for the other. You heard it here. Diego to Yimi for a goal, and we get a brothers to brother connection. 2-0 Portland.
I can see that. I can see that for sure. Um, I think Valeri will definitely be linking up with one of the goals for sure. And hmm, yeah, I think Chara will. I think Yimi Chara will get a goal. I don't. I don't know about the third person, but I think Yimi Chara will get a goal on this one as well.
All right. So we got Portland against the LA Galaxy at 7 o'clock on on Wednesday, October 28th. That game will be on ESPN, not even ESPN Plus. That will be a nationally televised game. So you can watch it anywhere. Just pull it up on your TV. That should be a good game to watch. I'm surprised that that's the game that gets nationally televised after we've missed all of these Cascadia matchups with two teams at the top of the West, not nationally televised.
Yeah,
You gotta be kidding me. But you know what? I'll get off my It's because it's LA, and I'll get off my soapbox with that one because I've already bashed it in the head enough. But Tuesday, October 27th is the big game of the midweek for us. We've got Seattle at Vancouver in Portland. Yes, all three cities are involved in this Cascadia game, although Portland is just the location. That's the funniest part, Eddie. What are your thoughts on this one?
this is gonna be a really good matchup. I feel both teams are playing for two different reasons. Um, Seattle's trying to stay top of the West. Vancouver's trying to just stay in the playoffs. So both teams have so much to fight for right now, as far as positioning and just being in the playoffs. Um, it's going to be a fun physical match, I think.
Fun and physical. You had mentioned Raul Ruiz being back in Seattle. I did not catch that article, but he is back. Is he going to play in this one?
Uh, from what I had heard, he is asymptomatic, and um, the earliest that they were looking at him coming back on the pitch was for this Vancouver match. So whether we see him or not, eh, I haven't seen that part yet, if he will or not. But it's either going to be this Vancouver match, or I think the next match that he'll probably play in.
Gotcha. Well, the projected lineups, because they do have that already up, they do have Bruin starting up top. So MLS does not think that Rui Diaz will be in this game. Um, from a lineup standpoint, without Rui Diaz on the field, I actually think, and this is going to sound totally weird, I think Vancouver's got more firepower than the Seattle team on the field. I think attack-wise, Vancouver actually has the advantage in this game.
Really?
Yeah, you got Cavallini, you got Montero up top, you got De Jong on the wing and Tybert on the other side, and then of course Ali Adnan with that phenomenal free kick. I like Vancouver's attack more than Seattle in this game. Now, that being said, I don't think Vancouver is favored to win this because you now look at the midfield and the back line, and you're definitely leaning towards Seattle. But I will be the first to say that without Rui Diaz, I think I would favor Vancouver's attack.
Yeah, I, to be honest, with the way that the two teams are trending, with Vancouver trending up, and I don't know if I want to say Seattle's trending down,
Kind
but
of been stagnant.
yeah, they're not really doing much, and so I almost favor. I agree with you. I think I almost favor Vancouver in this match to pull. I don't know if you are picking them to win this match, but I could actually see Vancouver winning this match.
I actually have this one ending in a draw as well. I think both teams are going to tighten up their defenses and really play a tighter match. Um, so I actually have this as a draw, trending in Vancouver with the better opportunities. Actually, that's
Okay.
that's that's my thought. Cavallini, Montero, Dahome, and Tybert are going to create at least three chances for Vancouver. And so it's going to be about whether or not they put two of those in the back of the net or one. I'm going to say they're only going to put in one because Stefan Fry is going to make some do Stefan Fry like things. And I got this game ending in a 1-1 draw. I got this looking just like Seattle versus Portland.
Interesting. I'm actually thinking that Port or not Portland. I think Vancouver will probably come away with a sneaky victory out of this one. I think that Vancouver is probably going to score a couple goals. I think Seattle will come out and get one. Um, but I see Vancouver taking advantage of the Seattle defense. I've still not been totally convinced with the Seattle defense, and I think that Vancouver will break through it. And I'm thinking Montero will get a goal, and I'm thinking Dahome is going to get a goal as well.
You say Montero again, and you're now ringing some bells because I know Montero loves to score against his previous team. He loves to try to put the ball in the back of the net against Seattle. So I'm going to say Montero gets the first, and he will have an opportunity for the second. Whether he puts it in the back of the net, I don't know. But a Montero brace for the win would just be so epic for this Vancouver team. I don't like Seattle's firepower right now. Bruin doesn't get the job done for me in terms of actually putting the ball on target. He does hold the ball up better, but I just don't the runs aren't coming and aren't timed right. So Morris finds the back of the net in this one. Montero finds the back of the net, the two M's, and then it's just going to be whether or not Montero polishes it off. You going with the Vancouver win is bold, Eddie, because Seattle's won the last three matchups between these teams.
Yeah, but also Vancouver has started to get used to Providence Park, and Seattle only gets to play there a couple times a year. So I think that might play into it as well. Um, Also, I wanted to mention because um, uh, you were talking about the firepower of the Sounders, and a few weeks ago, you were talking about how without Rui Diaz, Seattle goes from an amazing team to a great team,
Mm-hmm.
and that's still the factor right now. Is I love Bruin. He's unbelievable for the Sounders. I think as a depth player, he definitely pulled um, a point out of Seattle's butt last week, and he's going to be a factor in this next match. But I don't think he's going to be a true factor to help get the team the victory. Montero, he loves scoring against Seattle, against his old club. He loves scoring against he loves scoring against Portland because he hates Portland.
Mm-hmm. Both his
And
teams he's played against has been rivals against Portland.
yeah, and so um, I just see Montero doing work against Seattle, especially a Seattle team that is down men right now.
Well, we don't have too long to find out. This game is Tuesday, October 27th at 7 p.m. This one is not nationally televised. They're gonna nationally televise the garbage LA Portland game instead. But this one will be on
That's no hit.
MLS Live.
That's no hit on Portland, by the
No
way.
hit on
No hit on
Portland.
Portland.
That's a hit. That's a hit on the LA Galaxy. We've determined that already. Okay, um, this will be on ESPN Plus, Joe TV, Amazon Prime TV, and TSN. For those of you wanting to watch it, uh, Eddie's going big with Vancouver.
Hey, might as well ride the Vancouver train, right?
Hey, whenever I ride the Vancouver train, I'm wrong. So don't get me on it. I'm going 1-1. I'll stay neutral.
I'll push you off.
All right, push me off. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Catch some soccer this week. Get as much soccer in before the election next week and the craziness that happens.
And as always, go Cascadia.